Hello, everyone. I'm Aurora Newton,
And I'm Angie Bailey.
and this is Ask the A Team. And today we decided that we're going to talk about safety. It's springtime, we're coming into summer, and Angie, you have small children, and a lot of people we know have them, and you don't want to lock your kids in the house. You want them to be safe outside, and there's so many things that are out there that can scare parents. Social media blows up anytime there's even a thought of a predator in the area, which that's good. It lets us know that there might be a dangerous situation, but it's really important to teach your children about safety.
Without teaching fear.
Yes, we want them to
That's-
be,
Yeah.
we want them to be prepared, not paranoid. And that's really an important thing.
Absolutely.
So I know you teach your children some things. So what's one thing that you've taught them that you want to give to parents?
I grew up with stranger danger, right?
Yes.
And now that's a big no-no for those of
Right.
you out there, because often it's a stranger that can help you,
That's right.
and too often it's somebody that you know that is actually the one that's going to do harm.
Yes.
So I teach them to look for safe people.
That's very good.
Maybe somebody that's older, somebody that looks like a mom, obviously a police officer or somebody with a uniform on. So I teach them to look, for people who look safe, look like they, like mommy or daddy would look.
And that's really important, especially when you're in a park type situation. You can go over we call them scenario-based trainings, where you actually talk to your children about it. Who would be a safe person in this park? There's a mom with a carriage. If something happened to me or I was not around and you were afraid, who could you go to? And that's really important, to go over those scenarios with them and to teach them how to respond. I many times see young women in the park, and they're laying with their hands like this, and they're reading a book, or they're just sitting out in the middle of a grassy area. So we teach in our training that if you're going to sit in a park and you want to read, that's great. Sit against a tree. It's harder for someone to sneak up behind you. So that's a really important tool as well. And parents, if you see something suspicious, do not be afraid to report it. Call the police. It's okay. I'm sure if the person is not a suspicious person, they would rather your children be safe as well. And if they are, then the police have them.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was a little girl, I had a friend of mine who was abducted and killed. And we were stationed. We were stationed in my dad. I say we, family stationed, right? In Hawaii, Schofield Barracks, and she was at a bowling alley with her family, and her parents had given her and her younger sister just a bunch of change to go play in the arcade by themselves. Well, the parents bowled in a league, and the younger sister actually had the sense to not, they had run out of money, and a gentleman a man, he wasn't a gentleman, had approached them and said, I have more money out in my car, go with me and I'll give it to you so you can play some more. And the younger sister actually had enough, like she didn't feel good about it and she didn't go with him. And my friend went with them, and they found her the next day behind a toy store, actually. And that really affected me as a child. And so
Yes, it would.
one thing, because I was her age, I was 5 years old. And one thing that I also always tell my kids, to scream bloody murder, no matter what anybody tells them. Like if somebody ever tries to do anything to you, right?
Yeah,
What's
and-
your most powerful thing?
Your most important weapon. When we say that, it's my voice. We own it. My voice.
Yeah.
And it's important to teach your children not just to scream, but to scream words that are going to matter to people. Leave me alone. You're not my dad. Get away from me. I don't know who you are. Don't touch me. Use your voice and say the things that will draw attention. Because a lot of times if we just scream, kids scream all the time. So and I know you teach your children that to use those words wisely. I'm sorry, I get so passionate about
it's
this.
so true.
And I know you do too, because because we want children to be safe. We want everyone to be safe. We want our women to be safe. We want our men to be safe. And there are very simple things like that, using your most important weapon. And Ange, I just want to say, I am so sorry that happened to you. You know, I have a situation where a friend of mine committed suicide when I was young. And those things really impact us. Yes, they do. And if that's you, if something like that has happened to you and you haven't been able to get past that, send us a private message. We'd love to pray for you. And you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and why don't we pray for that now? If there's anyone out there, do you want to pray since you just brought that up? And that was thank you.
So Jesus, we just come before you right now with maybe things that have been stirred up from the past, from our childhood, from our families, Lord. Just bring healing in those situations, Lord. True healing, not to stir up fear, not to stir up anxiety, not to stir up old emotions, just to stir them up, but Lord, just to bring your healing. Just bring those, and also to teach us lessons of safety and what we can learn from those situations, and how we can give them to you, and how we can to use them for your glory, and how it can be turned around in our lives. And Father, for those who have really been touched and wounded from these really, really deep hurts, Lord, we just ask you to give them the courage right now to reach out.
Yes.
For help for that, to talk about that. That their most powerful thing is their voice, and maybe giving their voice and talking about it to the situation will bring healing. In your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.